Hello everyone, this session gonna be a launchpad session for your preparation where we gonna pick up 10 different questions from different subjects covering polity, geography, history, economics and general science. So basically what we do in this session, we pick up the 10 important static GK questions from different subjects and we discuss them holistically. We have 360-degree approach for these for these static GK questions, and thereby we get the real-time exam experience in these sessions. So without further ado, let's begin the session. Let's read out the first question. The first question is related to the history topic, and the question is a non-cooperation movement, which is NCM non-cooperation movement is the result of which of the following? So options were Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, Khilafat movement, and option D, all of the above. So before answering the question, let us understand the concept. This non-cooperation movement, basically non-cooperation movement began in the year 1920, and this was ended in the year 1922, 5th February, on 5th February, because what has happened in the 1922, the Chowri Chora incident has happened in the year 1922. Because of this Chowri Chora incident, the Gandhiji has stopped this non-cooperation movement. So this is the story of non-cooperation movement, and the historical perspective. If you see, Mahatma Gandhiji arrived in India on January 9th, 1915, after spending 21 years of his life in the South Africa, and he was returned on the January 9th, 1915. So thereby January 19th, for every 2 years, we are celebrating Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, basically, which is referred to as NRA Day. So currently 11th in this year 2025, the 11th edition of this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is held in the state of Odisha, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. So remember all these key important points that were related to January 9th. So basically what has happened on January 9th, 1915, Mahatma Gandhiji has arrived in India. After then, he launched several satyagraha movements. The first one is 1917, in the year 1917, which is Champaran Satyagraha, which is in the state of Bihar in the year 1917. Then followed by in the year 1918, he launched Ahmedabad mill strike, and then in the same year 1918, he launched Keda Satyagraha in Gujarat, Champaran in Bihar and Keda in Gujarat. So this basically Champaran Satyagraha is referred to as first civil disobedience movement by Mahatma Gandhi, and this Keda Satyagraha is referred to as first non-cooperation movement launched by the Mahatma Gandhi in India. So first CDM Champaran, remember CDM Champaran, and the first NCM Keda Satyagraha. And then what has happened? The World War I began in the year 1914, and ended in the year 1918. So basically, for Britishers to fight this war, they need the support from Indians. So Britishers used Indians, and in return, Indian thought that the British gonna repay their loyalty by providing self-rule or home rule or dominion status or Swaraj to Indians. So basically what Indians thought, British gonna British will provide Swaraj to Indians. But what has happened? The British betrayed Indians. Britishers betrayed Indians, and the Britishers provided British using carrot and stick policy. Basically, what happens in this carrot and stick policy? So, 1914 to 1918, World War One has happened, and after British won this war, they provide a carrot, which is referred to as Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. 1919. If you don't obey this, if you don't take this carrot, which is Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, basically it means if you don't follow the provisions of this act, we gonna provide a stick. We use stick to torture you. That is in the form of Rowlatt Act. This is a black act for Indians. Basically, what happens in this act? Indians were arrested with a mere suspicion. The authorities can arrest Indians, and also there can be a jail term of 2 to 3 years without any trial. So this basically a Rowlatt Act. On this act, the important leaders in Punjab like Satyapal and Satyendra Prasad Kichlu and Satyapal were arrested under the provisions of Rowlatt Act. So Rowlatt Act, let me explain this again. So Rowlatt Act 1919, British introduced Rowlatt Act as a stick in the year 1919. So with the arrest of Kichlu and Satyapal, against the arrest of Kichlu and Satyapal on the Baisakhi day, 13th April 1919, the innocent civilians were protesting in Jallianwala Bagh, protesting without any arms, and the General R. Dyer and General O. Dyer. So he is the military commander and he is the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab. He basically ordered the firing on 13th April 1919. So basically what happens on this day, because of this unprecedented firing from British authorities, British soldiers, around 1,000 plus innocent lives were killed on this day, which is referred to as Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which has happened on 13th April 1919. And after this massacre, Mahatma Gandhiji renounced his Kesari-e-Hind title that was provided by Britishers to Mahatma Gandhi in South Africa, and also Rabindranath Tagore has renounced his knighthood title. So Rowlatt Act and Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and the next Khilafat movement was also begun in the year 1919, because the humiliation of Turkey, basically Khalifa, there was a Khalifa, this post Khalifa, they basically Muslims consider this as the leader of Muslims in the world. But the Britishers, what they did was they humiliated this Khalifa post, because the Turkey lost the war. So because of this humiliation for the Khalifa post, the Ali brothers, Rahmat Ali and Shaukat Ali, these Ali brothers launched a movement referred to as Khilafat movement. This was launched in the year 1919. So basically Rowlatt Act, because of this act, Jallianwala Bagh massacre has happened, and the Khilafat movement. So all these circumstances, Mahatma Gandhiji, with the unity of both Muslims and Hindus, unity of both Muslims and Hindus. So what he launched was, he launched non-cooperation movement in the year 1920. Non-cooperation movement in the year 1920. So in the year 1920, the Khilafat movement has merged into NCM. So NCM it contains both Khilafat movement as well as non-cooperation movement. So when NCM ended, then Khilafat movement is also ends. So NCM ended in the year 1922. Mahatma Gandhi called off this NCM on 11th February 1922. Because why? Because of Chauri Chora incident, which was happened on 5th February 1922. So this all seems to be messy somewhat, but I want to explain this again. So Mahatma Gandhiji entered India in the year 1915, and what he did was Champaran Satyagraha, Ahmedabad Mill Strike, and Keda Satyagraha. So all these initiatives were successfully happened, and so Mahatma Gandhiji became a prominent leader in the Indian national movement. And then after of 1914 to 1918, World War I happened, and Britishers need Indian support, and Britishers promised August Declaration in the year 1917. So basically what this declaration is saying, we will provide the self-governance or home rule for Indians, but the Britishers betrayed Indians, and they provide a carrot which is known as Montagu comes for reforms, and they use the stick which is known as Rowlatt Act, Because of this act, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened, and the defeat of Turkey in the World War I led to initiation of Khilafat movement in the year 1919. So because of all these circumstances, the prominent leader Mahatma Gandhiji has initiated non-cooperation movement in the year 1920, and this was ended in the year 1922. And then after Gandhiji was sentenced to jail for 2 years, and he was released in the year 1924 because of health reasons. So if we read the question again, non-cooperation movement is a result of Rowlatt Act, yes. Jallianwala Bagh massacre, yes. And Khilafat movement, yes. So, and option D, all of the above. So all of the above were the causes for the implementation of non-cooperation movement by Mahatma Gandhiji. So for question number 1, option D would be the correct option. And if you see the chronology of events, the modern national movement, modern history, basically the national movement, it begins from the formation of INC in the year 1885, and then partition of Bengal was introduced by Lord Curzon. Because of this, Swadeshi movement was started in the year 1905 and ended in the year 1908. In between, Muslim League was formed in the year 1906, and 1907 Surat split, 1909 Parliamentary reforms. Ghadar Party was formed in the USA, San Francisco, in the year 1913 by Lala Hardyal, and the Ghadar movement began in the year 1914, and the Home Rule movement started by Anni Besant and Bal Gangadhar Tilak from 1916 to 1918. Champaran Satyagraha, Keda Satyagraha, Ahmedabad Mill Strike was performed by the Mahatma Gandhiji. Those initiatives were performed by the Mahatma Gandhiji, and he was successful in all these movements. And Rowlatt Satyagraha 1919, and the Khilafat NCM 1920, CDM 1930, and this 1927 we have Simon Commission established. 28 Simon Commission came to India, and 30 it was released a report, and from 30, 31, 32, 3 round table conferences were happened. happened, and all these round table conferences were attended by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And the second RTC roundtable conference was attended by the Mahatma Gandhiji from INC. So after Gandhi-Irwin Pact, remember all these points. And CDM in the year 1930. So what happens? Basically, Mahatma Gandhiji has performed Dandi March and broke the Salt Law. And in the year 1940, what happened? In the year 1940, so these were mass movements. NCM is a mass movement. CDM is a mass movement. Gandhiji thought that the frequency of mass movement cannot be sustained for a long time. So therefore, he launched an individual satyagraha in the year 1940. And in the year from 1942 to 1944, he launched Quit India movement. And before his arrest, he raised a slogan: "Do or die." And in between, what has happened? In between 1940, August offer, and Indians were not accepting this August offer. This August offer does not talks about complete independence, because 1929 Lahore session, this was chaired by Jawaharlal Nehru. He talks about complete independence. The complete independence resolution were taken in the Lahore session, but the August offer does not mention about the complete independence. So 1940 August offer, this was given by the Linlithgow, then Viceroy of India, and then Cripps Mission in the year 1942, and then Cabinet Mission in the year 1946, and establishment of Constituent Assembly, and the procedure of making of Constitution of India, and then Mountbatten Plan or June 3rd Plan, and the India's Independence Act, and on 15th August, India got independence, and on 14th August, Pakistan got independence from British colonial rule. So this is a chronology of India's national movement from, if you see, from 1885 to 1947, or if you consider this 1857, revolt of 1857. If you talk about revolt of 1857, or Sipahi Mutiny, then followed by India's Charter Act 1861, and peasant revolts, and as well as tribal revolts, socio-religious reform movements, and all the battles like Anglo-Carnatic Wars, Anglo-Mysore Wars, Anglo-Maratha Wars, Anglo-Sikh Wars. So all these were also part of modern history. This is basically related to first question, and also we also understand the chronology of India's modern national movement in brief. And moving forward, question number 2 is related to polity. Subject, and the question is asking: Article 44 of Indian Constitution contains provisions related to which of the following? Uniform Civil Code, prohibition of intoxicants, separation of judiciary from executive, and protection of monuments of national importance. If we talk about Article 44 is part of Part 3, which is talks about directive principles of state policy, and these the articles ranging from 36 to 51. So let us understand all these important articles one by one. Basically, DPSPs were categorically, or for understanding purpose, these were categorized into three forms, three ways. One is socialistic provisions, and Gandhian provisions, and liberal provisions. So socialist, Gandhian, and liberal provisions. Let us understand each DPSP article one by one. First, 36 article 36 talks about definition of state. So 36 article definition of state, and 37 article 37 talks about these DPSPs are non-justiciable in nature. So you can't approach the court saying there was a violation of DPSP to my life. So these were non-justiciable in nature, and this 37 article is also talks about these DPSPs were fundamental in the governance of country. So this is Article 36 definition of state, and Article 37 non-justiciable and fundamental. These DPSPs were fundamental in the definition of in the governance of country. So 36, 37 and 38 talks about two things: justice, which is social, economic and political justice. These provisions were also present in preamble as well. And the next thing is minimize income inequality, and this provision were added by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. So this is related to Article 38. And if you talk about Article 39, let me erase this. Article 39 talks about, it contains provisions from A, B, C, D, E, F. So Article 39 capital A talks about providing opportunities for livelihood, adequate livelihood. 39 capital small a 39 small a talks about adequate livelihood, and 39 small b talks about equal distribution of resources, and C talks about prevention of concentration of wealth, and D talks about equal pay for both men and women, and E talks about workers, and F talks about healthy development of children and workers, So this 39 small f talks, this provision were added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. So this was also referred to as mini Constitution of India. This amendment is also referred to as mini Constitution of India. And Article 40, so these were 39 A, B, C, D, E, F, and one more thing we have 39 capital A. 39 capital A talks about free legal aid. So based on these provisions, NALSA, Government of Parliament has passed NALSA Act in the year 1987 to provide the free legal aid to poor and needy ones. So we have seen Article 36, 37, 38, 39 and 39A, and Article 40 talks about organization of village panchayat. This is the Gandhian principle, and Article 41 talks about right to work, Article 41, and Article 42 talks about maternity relief, and just and human conditions at workplace, and Article 43 talks about providing adequate living wages for workers, and also promotion of cottage industries. This is also Gandhian provision. And 43A means which was amended or which was added later to the amendment. So this was 43 was amended were added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, and 43B talks about cooperative societies. This was B, so this was added later through the 97th Constitutional Amendment Act 2011, 97th Constitutional Amendment Act 2011. And Article 44 talks about Uniform Civil Code, and Article 45 talks about free education up to 14 years, This was initially 6 years, but through the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002, this provision was changed to 14 years. So basically, this is important amendment. We will talk about this amendment later after this understanding after these provisions. So 45 talks about free education from 6 to 14 years age, and 46 talks about educational opportunities for SCs and STs, and 47 talks about prohibition of intoxicants, and protection of public health, and Article 48 talks about protection and promotion of nature, and also preservation of forest and wildlife, and nature is talks about Article 48, and Article 48A is talk about animal husbandry. This was added to 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, and Article 49 talks about protection and promotion of monuments of national importance. So monuments, preservation and their protection mentioned in Article 49. And Article 50 talks about separation of judiciary from executive, and Article 51 talks about promotion of international peace. So these were DPSPs from Articles 36 to 51. We discussed all of them. This was mentioned in Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. And if you see the amendments, we see the amendments in between understanding these provisions. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. This they make a change in the article 38, and the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 makes changes by introducing 39 clause F, and 39 capital A, and also 43 capital A, and also 48 capital A. Remember, 44th Amendment, 42nd Amendment, and we also seen 97th Constitutional Amendment Act 2011, and introduced an article in the DPSP which is 43B, which talks about cooperative societies, and also the one more amendment which is 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002, through which there was a change in the modification of the provision. Previously it was 0 to 6 years, and this was changed to 6 to 14 years. So free education up to 6 to 14 years. For this modification was done in provisions of Article 45. So these were 4 amendments to these DPSP. So 44th Amendment, 42nd Amendment, 97th Amendment, and 86th Amendment. So if you talk about 86th Amendment, this brought the changes to the fundamental rights by introducing Article 21 Clause A. This talks about free education from 0 to 6 years. And also this brought the changes in Article 45. This talks about free education for 6 to 14 years. And this also brought the changes to the fundamental duties, which is 51 capital A, and provision 8 clause K, 51A clause K, because 51A fundamental duties were present, 11 fundamental duties were present, and this 11th fundamental duty were added through 86 Constitutional Amendment Act. This also talks about parents or guardians to provide the free and compulsory education between the child from the age 6 to 14 years. So this amendment is highly important for examination. So let us read the question again. Question number 2. It is asking Article 44 of Indian Constitution contains provisions related to. So we discussed Article 44 deals with uniform civil code. So currently, after independence, Uttarakhand government is the first one to legislate the uniform civil code. Remember, Uttarakhand government after the independence is the first one to legislate the uniform civil code. Before independence, it was Goa. So Goa and Uttarakhand, these were the only two states in India where uniform civil code for being implemented. So therefore option A would be the correct option. And if you see the other options, as we discussed, prohibition of intoxicants mentioned in Article 47, it is a Gandhian principle. And the separation of judiciary from executive, this is a liberal principle mentioned in Article 50. And protection of monuments of national importance, this is also a liberal principle. This was mentioned in Article 49. So Article 44 deals with uniform civil code. Question number 2, option A, correct option. So this was the explanation that was given, that we discussed. 38, you see this minimize inequality in income added through 44th amendment. So this was the explanation part. If you have time, just pause the video and read all the provisions. Or if you want the PDF of this video, just WhatsApp me to the number 6281 9761. So I will provide PDF of this session. And moving forward, question number 3. Who is the founder of Swarajist Party? What has happened? So because of after the Gandhiji arrest in the year 1922, and he was returned in the year 1924 because of health reasons. So during the time of Gandhiji in the jail, there was a split in the INC. One was no changers, and the other one is Swarajist. Another one is Swarajist. So these Swarajist, C.R. Das, this was founded by C.R. Das, and the secretariat of this Swarajist party was Motilal Nehru. Motilal Nehru is the father of Jawaharlal Nehru. So Swarajist party, this was founded by C.R. Das. Therefore option C, correct option for question number 3. If you see the explanation, Swaraj party was founded in January 1923. After the Gaya session of INC in 1922. After the Gaya session of INC in the year 1922. And if you see the leaders like C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru founded this party, where C.R. Das being the founder, and Motilal Nehru acts as secretariat. So all these, what is the main objective of this party? They want to provide the reforms to the Indian political system by entering into the legislative council elections. So what has happened in the year 1923, after Swarajist party contested for the election, Bengal Legislative Council election, and they won the Bengal Legislative Council election. So this is a major success for this Swarajist party. So after the C.R. Das death, in the year 1925, the Swaraj party began to decline. And the return of Gandhiji, and he also during his arrest, he did not support the council entry, but after the arrest he supported the council entry because of significant work performed by these leaders. So therefore option C, C.R. Das, who founded Swarajist party. This is the most important question. C.R. Das founded the Swarajist party. Therefore option C, correct option for question number 3. And moving on, this is the biology related question. Which vitamin is primarily responsible for blood clotting? So before answering the question, let us understand the let us have the discussion on the vitamins. These were kind of vitamins, and the deficiency of these vitamins leads to these diseases. The deficiency of these vitamins leads to these deficiencies. So basically vitamins were fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K, and water soluble vitamins were B supplements and C vitamin. B and C vitamins are water soluble vitamins. So in B, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12 and C. So if you see these were the vitamins and their scientific names. These were scientific names. So let us understand about these vitamins. Firstly, vitamin A, the deficiency leads to what? Deficiency leads to night blindness, and B1 deficiency leads to beriberi. B2 deficiency leads to riboflavinosis, and B3 leads to pellagra, B5 paresthesia, and B6 anemia, B7 dermatitis, and B9 B12 megaloblastic anemia. Remember, B6 B9 B12 related to anemia, and B1 beriberi, B3 pellagra, B5 paresthesia, B2 riboflavinosis, and vitamin A night blindness, and vitamin C scurvy and swelling of gums due to the deficiency of vitamin C. So remember, scurvy, they sound C, so vitamin C. And vitamin D, rickets and osteomalacia, vitamin E, fertility issues, and vitamin D, non-clotting of blood. So these were vitamins and their deficiencies. Just read all of them slowly. Then after then you will understand about this concept in a greater detail. And these were the vitamins here, and they were the vitamins scientific name. So vitamin A, retinol, with B1 thiamine, B2 riboflavin, B3 niacin, B5 pantothenic acid, B6 pyridoxine, B7 biotin, B9 folic acid, and B12 cyanocobalamin, vitamin C ascorbic acid, vitamin D calciferol. Vitamin D's deficiency leads to rickets, and vitamin E tocopherol, and vitamin K phylloquinone. Remember, K quinone, K here sounds K, so K remember, phylloquinone, vitamin K, vitamin E tocopherol, vitamin D calciferol, vitamin C ascorbic acid. So B1 thiamine, B2 riboflavin, BC niacin. Remember, TRN, thiamine, riboflavin and niacin. So let us read the question again. Question number 4, which talks about which vitamin is primarily responsible for blood clotting. So vitamin K related to responsible for blood clotting, and the deficiency of this vitamin K leads to what? Non-clotting of blood. So therefore option A, correct option for question number 4. And moving forward, question number 5. Which battle marked the beginning of British rule in India? So the options were Battle of Panipat, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, and Battle of Haldighati. If you see the major battles in the modern history, Battle of Plassey is the first one, where annexation of Bengal has happened with the help of governor of Bengal, and is Robert Clive. After then, Battle of Buxar, Treaty of Allahabad, and Anglo-Carnatic Wars. Anglo-Carnatic Wars. There were basically 3 Anglo-Carnatic Wars: first, second, and third. And the treaties were Treaty of Axla-Chapelli and Treaty of Madras, and third one Treaty of Paris, and then followed by 4 Anglo-Mysore Wars. First, second, third, fourth. First treaty was Treaty of Madras, second was Treaty of Mangalore, and third one Treaty of Seringapatam, and fourth one the annexation of Mysore by the British has taken place. Basically, the then Viceroy was Lord Wellesley. He conquered Mysore after the 4th Anglo-Mysore War. Basically, the death of Tipu Sultan has happened on the 4th Anglo-Mysore War. Thereby, Mysore was annexed completely by Britishers. after the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. And three Anglo-Maratha Wars. So Treaty of Salbai, Treaty of Basin, and all this were related to Anglo-Maratha War. And two Anglo-Sikh Wars. Treaty of Lahore is related to Anglo-Sikh War, and Revolt of 1857. So these were all the major important battles in the modern India's national freedom struggle. So which battle marked the beginning of British rule in India? Basically, Battle of Plassey happened in the year 1957 AD. Marked the beginning of British rule in India after the conquest of largest and the richest province, which is referred to as Bengal. So Battle of Plassey would be the correct option for question number 5. So if you talk about Panipat, 1526, 1556, 1761. So Battle of Haldigati, and this was happened to Maharana Pratap Singh and Mughal ruler, which Man Singh I. So this was happened between Battle of Haldigati, Battle of Buxar 1764, Battle of Plassey 1757, Battle of Panipat, 3 Battle of Panipats. So if the question is asking to arrange the on a chronology based, you can make the answer by using by marking their years. By marking their years, you can make the chronology of these events. So firstly, Battle of Haldigat, and then followed by Battle of Plassey, and then third Battle of Panipat, and then Battle of Buxar, which has happened in the year 1764. So question is asking beginning of British rule in India, which is Battle of Plassey. Therefore, option B, correct option for question number 5. And this is the most important question. Which mountain is the highest peak in Africa? So there were 7 continents. So 7 highest peaks for each continent. 7 highest peak for each continent. And for Africa, it is the Mount Kilimanjaro located in Tanzania. Mount Kilimanjaro is highest peak which is located in Africa region. Therefore, option B, correct option for question number 6. If you see the explanation, so there were 7 continents and 7 highest peaks. In the Africa, it is Kilimanjaro, and in Europe, it is Elbrus. So remember, Europe, Elbrus, and South America, Aconcagua, North America, Denali, and Australia, Kosciuszko, and Antarctica, Mount Vinson, and Asia, Mount Everest. So these were 7 highest peaks located in 7 different continents. And question number 7, which city is located on the banks of Sabarmati River? On the banks of Sabarmati River, the Ahmedabad city is located. Therefore, question number 7, option A would be the correct option. And the Surat city is located on the banks of Tapti River. So the question is asking Sabarmati River, on the banks of Sabarmati River, Ahmedabad is located. Therefore, option A would be the correct option. And if you see the Rajkot, this was Aji River. Aji River, on the banks of Aji River, Rajkot is located. So Sabarmati River, on the banks of Sabarmati River, Ahmedabad city is located. Therefore, option A would be correct option for question number 7. And talking about question 8, this is a polity related question. And the question asking, which part of the Indian Constitution deals with fundamental rights? So currently we have 25 parts and 450 plus articles and 455 plus articles and 12 schedules and a preamble. Originally we have preamble, 8 schedules, 22 parts and 395 articles. And if you see the parts of Indian Constitution, part 1 deals with names of states and their territories, and part 2 talks about citizenship, part 3 talks about fundamental right, Part 4 deals with the directive principle of state policy. Part 4A deals with fundamental duties. Part 5 deals with union. Part 6 deals with states. Part 7 was repealed. Part 8 talks about union territories. Part 9 talks about panchayats. And Part 9A talks about municipalities. Part 9B talks about cooperative societies. Part 10 deals with the provisions, contains the provisions of schedule and tribal areas. Part 11 center and state relation. Part 12 finance, property, contracts, so basically the provisions of income tax and also finance commission. All these provisions were mentioned in Part 12. Part 13, this Part 13 is borrowed from Australia. This contains provisions of trade, commerce and intercourse within the territory of India. And Part 14 services under the state and union, and Part 14A talks about what? Tribunals. This was added through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, and Part 9A added through 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, Part 9B 74th, and Part 4A 42nd Amendment. And Part 15 talks about elections from the Article 324 to 329A, 324 Election Commission of India, 326 right to vote. And Part 16 talks about the special provisions. Part 17 official languages. Part 18 emergency provisions from Articles 352 to 360. And Part 19 miscellaneous provisions from 361 to 367. And Part 20, this was important, talks about amendment procedure mentioned in Article 368. And Part 21 talks about temporary provisions, contains from Articles 369 to 392. And Part 22 finally talks about short title, commencement, authoritative text in Hindi, and repeals. So these were 25 parts. We discussed about all the parts and what does that part basically indicates. So if you with that understanding, if you solve the question, which part of the Indian Constitution deals with fundamental rights? So Part 3 talks about fundamental rights, and ranging from the Articles 12 to 35. Part 4 talks about DPSP. Part 2 citizenship, and Part 5 the union from the Articles 52 to 151. So basically executive, legislature, judiciary. So all these provisions were mentioned in Part 5 of the Indian Constitution, but the question is related to fundamental rights. Hence option A, Part 3 would be the correct option for question number 8. If you want to read the explanation, just pause the video and read about all different parts and their articles. And the question number 9, which organization is responsible for regulating monetary policy in India? The options were RBI, SEBI, Ministry of Finance, and SBI. Basically, the monetary policy were regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Therefore, option A, correct option. Option A, RBI, which is RBI, would be the correct option for question number 9. RBI regulates monetary policy in India. And about RBI, who is the current governor of RBI? The current governor, which is 26 in order. We have to remember this number as well, because everyone knows who is RBI governor, but his order was highly important. So nobody pay attention to this number. So you have to also remember this his order as well. So 26 CEC, 52nd CGI, and 26 RBI governor, 11th SEBI chairperson. So these were important. This number was important for the examination. So 26 RBI governor is Sanjay Malhotra, and 11th SEBI chairperson Tuhin Kante Pandey, and Minister of Finance Nirmala Sitharaman, and SBI's chief chairperson Challa Srinivasulu Shetty. So therefore option A, RBI would be the correct option for question number 9. So RBI was established on April 1st, 1935. April 1st, 1935 under the provisions of RRB Act 1934. RRB Act 1934. The act was introduced, passed in 1934, and the institution was established in the year 1935. So previous, at first, the headquarters of this RBI is located or established in Calcutta, and later in the year 1937, the headquarters is shifted to Mumbai. Headquarters is shifted to Mumbai, and the nationalization of RBI has happened in the year 1949. The nationalization of RBI happened in the year 1949. So from 1945 onwards, the Reserve Bank of India is fully owned by the government of India. So fully owned by the government of India. So basically, RBI is not a constitutional body. It is a statutory body. It is a statutory body. So that's about the question number 9. And question number 10. Question number 10. Which 5-year plan introduced the concept of Garibi Hatao? These 5-year plans were highly important. We can have a separate session for this all these 5-year plans. I will cover all these 5-year plans in a single session in the coming days. So Garibi Hatao, you know, the objective of Garibi Hatao is mentioned in which of the following 5-year plans? The correct option is 4th 5-year plan. 4th 5-year plan. 4th 5-year plan talks about Garibi Hatao. Hence, therefore, option B correct option for question number 10. You have to mention in the comment box when was rolling plan has happened, when was rolling plan was happened, and when was plan holiday was introduced. When was plan holiday was introduced, and how many 5-year plans were? How many 5-year plans were present from 1951 to 2014? How many 5-year plans, plan holidays, and rolling plan? You have to mention in the comment section. So after the 5-year plan, from the 2015 January 1st onwards, the 5-year plans were replaced by Niti Aayog. And the chairperson of Niti Aayog is Prime Minister of India, and vice chairperson is Suman Beri, and the CEO of current Niti Aayog is Subramanian. So therefore, the CEO of the Niti Aayog is Subramanian. These were the key important points that is related to Niti Aayog institution. So just mention in the comment section rolling plan, when does rolling plan has happened, plan holiday when does happen, and how many 5-year plans were being implemented since the inception of independence. So you have to provide the answers for these questions in the comment section below. So that's it. That's it for the day. These were top 10 MCQs and from different subjects that I picked up and I discussed it thoroughly. And I hope you find these questions and these discussions important for your examinations. That's it for the day. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.